The smell hit Owen Fletcher before anything else. 3 months of failed magic rituals had left the prince's chamber reeking like a chemistry lab mixed with a flower shop. He pushed the heavy crystal door open with his shoulder, carrying his cleaning supplies in a wooden bucket that looked pathetically simple compared to the golden walls around him. Nobody else wanted this job. The other stable hands, most of them from species Owen still could not pronounce correctly, had practically run away when the head servant announced someone needed to clean Prince Caldrus's chamber. Again, after another failed awakening ceremony. The 14th one this month. Owen did not blame them. Cleaning up after dragon magic was not in anyone's job description, especially when that dragon happened to be the heir to the entire Andorran Empire. He set his bucket down and looked at the prince properly for the first time. Caldrus lay sprawled across the marble floor in his full dragon form, easily the size of a passenger jet back on Earth. Golden scales covered his body, each one probably worth more than Owen's entire hometown. His wings were folded awkwardly, one trapped beneath his massive bulk. Dried potion residue caked his snout, and someone had drawn glowing symbols across his side that were now fading and flaking off like old paint. The dragon looked uncomfortable. More than that, he looked like nobody had actually paid attention to him as a living being in weeks. They saw a cursed prince, a political problem, a magical puzzle. They did not see a creature who might be lying wrong or covered in irritating substances. Owen had grown up on a farm in Montana. He knew uncomfortable animals when he saw them, that he started with the basics. The ceremonial candles went into a bag. The chalk circles got scrubbed away. The incense burners were dumped and cleaned. He worked methodically, the way his father had taught him, one task at a time until the job was done. The magical residue on the prince's scales took more effort. Owen mixed warm water with a mild soap, then used a long-handled brush to gently clean the dried potions away. He had done similar work with horses that had rolled in mud. Dragons were just bigger horses with wings and attitude. He figured, yes, he worked. He muttered to himself. They got you lying on your wing wrong. That has to hurt, even if you were asleep. And this stuff on your face is probably itching like crazy. Nobody thought to clean you up before trying their fancy spells. The dragon, obviously, did not answer. Owen finished cleaning and stepped back. The prince looked better, at least, but that wing was still bothering him. Back home, you never left an animal in an uncomfortable position if you could help it. Injured wings got infected. Pressure points caused problems. He studied the situation. The wing was not broken, just folded wrong beneath several tons of dragon. If he could just shift the prince's weight a little, maybe pull the wing free. It took him 20 minutes and every bit of leverage he could create using a wooden beam as a makeshift lever. Finally, the wing slid free. Owen carefully folded it properly against the dragon's side. The way bird wings were supposed to rest, he was sweating by the time he finished. The chamber looked clean, almost normal. The prince looked comfortable for the first time in months, probably. Owen gathered his supplies, ready to leave and report that the job was done. As he turned toward the door, his boot caught on one of the ceremonial candles he had missed. He stumbled, caught himself, but the candle rolled directly into his path. His patience, worn thin by 3 hours of cleaning up after magical incompetence, snapped. Up, now! He barked the words in English, the same tone he had used 1,000 times with farm animals who were lying exactly where he needed to walk. Sharp, direct, brooking no argument. The effect was immediate and impossible. Prince Caldrus's eyes opened. Not slowly, not with the gradual awareness of someone waking from normal sleep. They snapped open like someone had flipped a switch, glowing with inner golden light. Owen froze. His brain struggled to process what he was seeing. The dragon's head lifted. His wings spread, the properly folded one extending smoothly while the other shook off the stiffness of months without movement. Caldrus rose to his feet, scales sliding smoothly over muscle, magic crackling around his form like static electricity. Alarms began blaring throughout the palace. Loud, insistent, the kind of sound that meant something important and probably dangerous had just happened. The chamber door exploded inward. Guards poured through, weapons drawn, shouting in 3 different languages. They surrounded Owen in seconds, energy weapons pointed at his chest. Owen raised his hand slowly, his cleaning bucket tipped over at his feet, soapy water spreading across the marble floor. Prince Caldrus turned his massive head, looking first at the guards, then at Owen. His golden eyes were intelligent, aware, and utterly confused. "What?" the Dragon Prince said in a voice like distant thunder. "Just happened?" Owen, surrounded by guards, staring at a creature that could incinerate him with a thought, said the only thing that came to mind. "I cleaned your room, and you were sleeping weird. Then I told you to get up." "Sir!" The guards looked ready to shoot him. Prince Caldrus looked ready to demand answers. Somewhere in the distance, more alarms joined the chorus. Owen had a sinking feeling that his simple job, cleaning stables, had just become extremely complicated. The Dragon Prince took a step forward, and the entire palace seemed to hold its breath. The throne room of the Andorran Empire could fit a football stadium inside it with space left over. Owen stood in the center of it, still wearing his work clothes that smelled like soap and dragon scale polish. Try not to think about the 100 pairs of eyes watching him. Queen Valindra sat on a throne carved from a single piece of crystal that probably cost more than Earth's entire GDP. She was in her humanoid form, tall and regal, with silver hair that moved like it was underwater. Her eyes, the same golden color as her son's, were fixed on Owen with an intensity that made him want to apologize for existing. Prince Caldrus stood beside the throne, also in humanoid form now. He looked young, maybe mid-20s in human terms, with sharp features and that same golden gaze. He had been awake for 2 hours and still seemed slightly confused about it. High Mage Isendor paced back and forth in front of Owen like a lawyer who had just lost an impossible case. His robes were covered in symbols that glowed and shifted. His hair was wild, standing up in places where he had obviously been pulling at it. "It is impossible," Isendor said for the 5th time. "Completely impossible. The human has no magic. None. I have tested him 3 times. He could not light a candle with magic if his life depended on it. And yet," Queen Valindra said quietly, "my son is awake." "Yes, but not because of him." Isendor pointed at Owen like he was evidence in a crime. "The curse was designed by House Nethgar's best weavers. It required a specific counterspell, rare components, perfect timing. This human spoke 2 words in a language that is not even recognized by the Empire's linguistic databases." Owen cleared his throat. Everyone looked at him. He wished they would stop doing that. "If I can just go back to the stables, I will not tell anyone about this. We can all forget it happened." "Absolutely not," said a new voice. Ambassador Petrov stepped forward from where he had been standing with the other human delegation. He was older, gray-haired, with the look of someone who had fought too many political battles. The Queen made a public declaration. Anyone who woke the prince would be granted a royal boon. The entire empire heard it. "I do not want a boon," Owen protested. "I just want to take care of the stable animals." Nevertheless, the Queen's voice cut through the room like a knife. "I keep my word. You will be granted whatever you desire, human. But first, I must understand what happened." A smaller dragon stepped forward. She was young, her scales a soft blue color, and she wore the white robes of a healer. Owen recognized her from the medical wing, where he had brought injured stable animals a few times. "Your Majesty, I have examined Prince Caldrus thoroughly. The curse is completely gone. Not suppressed, not weakened, but gone. As if it was never there." "How?" Isendor demanded. The healer, whose name was Lissa, looked uncomfortable. "I have a theory, but it sounds absurd." "Everything about this situation is absurd," Caldrus said. His voice was smoother in humanoid form, less like thunder and more like a cello. "Please share your theory." Lissa took a breath. "The curse was designed to resist magic. Every spell cast to break, it was recognized and countered. The curse grew stronger each time we tried to break it with magic. It was a masterwork of defensive weaving. We know all this." Isendor snapped. "But the human has no magic," Lissa continued. When he spoke, there was no spell for the curse to resist, no magic to counter. He was completely invisible to the curse's defenses. His words passed through as if the curse did not exist. Silence filled the throne room. "That is ridiculous," Isendor said, but he sounded less certain now. "Is it?" Lissa looked at Owen. What exactly did you say? Owen shrugged. I told him to get up. Same thing I would say to a horse lying in the wrong spot. It was not magic. It was just words. Just words, Caldrus repeated softly. Words with no magic, no power, no weight. Except they worked. They worked because you believed they would, Lysis said. The curse kept you asleep by suppressing your will to wake. Every magical attempt to wake you was blocked. But a simple, direct command from someone with no magic? The curse had no defense for that. It was like trying to stop a fly with a shield designed to block swords. The queen leaned forward. You are saying my son was saved by the one being in this room who cannot perform magic. Yes, your majesty. Before anyone could respond, the doors to the throne room slammed open. A guard rushed in, breathing hard. Your majesty, urgent news. We have captured 2 intruders in the West Wing. They match the description of House Nethgar assassins. The room erupted. Guards moved toward the queen. Advisors started shouting questions. Caldrus's form shimmered, halfway between humanoid and dragon, ready to fight. Owen, forgotten in the chaos, backed toward a pillar. Captain Rothgar, a massive silver dragon in armor, approached the queen. Your majesty, we interrogated them briefly. The curse was not meant to kill Prince Caldrus. It was meant to keep him asleep while they infiltrated the palace. They have been here for 3 days, waiting for the right moment. To do what? Valindra demanded. To kill you, your majesty. The prince's awakening disrupted their timeline. They are moving now, ahead of schedule. Alarms began ringing again, different ones this time. Security protocols activating. Rothgar barked orders at his guards, then turned to the queen. We are searching the palace, but these assassins use magic to hide from our sensors. Our security systems cannot find them. Then how do we stop them? Caldrus asked. Everyone started talking at once, suggesting spells, wards, detection rituals. Owen, still standing by his pillar, said quietly, You are overthinking it. Somehow, despite the noise, everyone heard him. They turned to look at the human stable boy who had done the impossible once already that day. What did you say? The queen asked. Owen took a breath. You are overthinking it. You do not need magic to track people. You just need to look. Dust settled differently when someone walked through it. Owen had learned that tracking his neighbor's escaped cattleback in Montana. Magic could hide heat signatures and mass sounds, but it could not change basic physics. He knelt in the corridor outside the throne room, studying the marble floor, while a dozen dragons watched him like he had grown a second head. What are you doing? Captain Rothgar demanded. The silver dragon loomed over Owen, his armor making small, clinking sounds. Looking, Owen said simply. He pointed to a faint scuff mark. Someone came through here recently. Walked fast, trying to be quiet. See how the dust is disturbed in a straight line? They were moving with purpose. Our sensors detected no one, Rothgar growled. Your sensors look for magic. I'm looking for footprints. Prince Caldrus crouched beside Owen, studying the floor. I see nothing unusual. Owen pulled out a small pouch of powder he used for polishing silver in the stables. He blew a small amount across the floor. The dust settled into patterns, revealing the outline of footprints leading down the east corridor. There, Owen said. 2 people moving fast, maybe 20 minutes ago. Lyssa gasped. How did you do that? It is not magic. It is just dust showing where feet disturb the air. Basic tracking. Rothgar stared at the footprints, then at Owen. Something shifted in his expression. Can you follow them? Probably. Then do it. The queen's voice came from behind them. She had followed them out of the throne room with half her court. Captain Rothgar, go with him. Prince Caldrus, you as well. Find these assassins. Owen stood, feeling very aware that he was about to lead the most powerful beings in the galaxy on a hunt like he was tracking deer. I will need people to be quiet, really quiet, and do not touch anything unless I say so. Rothgar looked like he wanted to argue, but Caldrus nodded. Whatever you need. They moved through the palace, Owen in front, followed by Caldrus, Lyssa, Rothgar, and 6 royal guards. Owen studied each corridor, each room. He looked for things nobody else would notice. A door that should be locked, but was not. Scratch marks on a crystal floor where something metal had dragged. A curtain moved slightly out of place. They went through here, he said at one intersection. See the way the light fixture is crooked? Someone bumped it. That could have been anyone, one of the guards muttered. Could have been, Owen agreed. But combined with the dust pattern and the unlocked door, it tells a story. They came this way. Calders watched Owen work with growing fascination. How did you learn this? Grew up tracking animals. Cows mostly. Sometimes horses that got loose. You learn to read the land, see what is not fit. Owen paused at a side passage. Dragons rely on magic for everything. Sensing, detecting, protecting. But magic can be fooled. Footprints are harder to fake. Why did no one think of this before? Lissa asked. Owen shrugged. When you have magic, you forget about the simple stuff. It is like having a calculator and forgetting you can count on your fingers. They reached the residential wing. Owen held up his hand, stopping everyone. He pointed to a door that was slightly ajar. That room is supposed to be empty, Rothgar whispered. Guest quarters not in use. Owen knelt, studying the door frame. Fresh scratches on the lock. Someone picked it. Recently. He looked back at the group. They're probably in there. Rothgar drew his weapon, a sword that crackled with energy. The guards raised their own weapons. Caldress's form shimmered, ready to transform. Owen held up his hand again. Wait, charging in is what they expect. They are assassins. They have probably trapped the room. Then what do you suggest? Rothgar asked. Owen thought for a moment. Back home, when you found a dangerous animal cornered, you did not rush in. You controlled the exits first. Block all the other ways out of this wing. Windows, service doors, everything. Make them come through this door. Then we have the advantage. Rothgar nodded slowly. Tactically sound. He sent 4 guards to secure the other exits. While they waited, Owen studied the door more carefully. He noticed a thin wire stretched across the threshold, barely visible. Tripwire. Step through that door and something bad happens. Can you disarm it? Caldress asked. No, but I can avoid it. Owen looked around, spotted a serving cart in the hallway. Help me with this. They positioned the cart in front of the door. Owen tied a rope to the door handle, then backed away, unspooling the rope down the corridor. When I pull this, the door opens. Whatever trap they set goes off. We stay back here safe. Crude, but effective, Rothgar admitted. Owen pulled the rope. The door swung open. Immediately, energy blast shot out, scorching the walls where anyone standing in the doorway would have been. The serving cart exploded into pieces. Now they have used their trap, Owen said, and they know we are here. They will either run or fight. The assassins chose to run. They burst from the room, heading for the windows, but the guards had already blocked that route. They turned toward the main corridor, but Rothgar and his remaining guards blocked that way too. Cornered, the assassins drew weapons. Energy crackled around them, dark magic forming shields. Caldress transformed, his dragon form filling the corridor. His roar shook the walls. The assassin's shields flickered but held. Their magic is strong, Lissa shouted. They can hold against direct assault. Owen watched the assassins, studying them like he would study any cornered animal. They were scared, desperate. Their shields covered their front, but not their backs. They expected attacks from the front. They are not watching behind them, Owen said. Rothgar caught on immediately. He sent 2 guards through a side passage that looped around. The guards came up behind the assassins, who were too focused on the dragon in front of them to notice. The fight was over in seconds. The guards struck from behind, disrupting the shields. Caldress and Rothgar moved in, disarming them before they could react. Both assassins were secured, weapons removed, magic suppressed by special restraints. Rothgar looked at Owen with something like respect. You think like a soldier. I think like someone who cannot afford to rely on power. You have to be smart when you are weak. They dragged the assassins back toward the throne room. Before they arrived, one of the assassins started laughing. You think you won? This was just the beginning. The curse, the attack, all of it was a test. To see if you could adapt. If you could learn from the humans. What are you talking about? Caldress demanded. The assassin smiled. The real threat is coming. And only your humans might stop it. Owen's new quarters were too large, too fancy, and made him deeply uncomfortable. The bed could fit 5 people. The bathroom had a tub carved from crystal. The view overlooked the royal gardens where flowers from 100 worlds bloomed in impossible colors. He missed his bunk in the servant quarters. At least there he knew where he stood. 3 days had passed since the assassin's warning. 3 days of intelligence officers interrogating prisoners, mages analyzing threats, and Owen trying very hard to convince everyone he should go back to the stables. Nobody was listening to the knock on his door interrupted his third attempt at escaping through the servant passages. Lissa entered, carrying a data pad and looking tired. "They want you in the council chamber," she said. "There has been a development." The council chamber was smaller than the throne room, but somehow more intimidating. Military commanders, intelligence chiefs, and senior mages filled the space. Owen felt like a farm boy who had wandered into a meeting of generals, which, technically, he had. Queen Valindra stood at the head of a large table displaying a holographic star map. Prince Caldrus stood beside her, his expression grim. "Thank you for coming, Owen," the queen said. She sounded genuinely grateful, which somehow made Owen more nervous. "The intelligence we gathered from the assassins has been verified," Caldrus explained. He touched the star map, highlighting several points. The curse and assassination attempt were orchestrated by a coalition of species calling themselves the Free Alliance. They believe the Andoran Empire has grown too dependent on magic. They are not wrong. Isendor muttered from his corner. Several people glared at him, but he just shrugged. "The concerning part," Hrothgar continued, "is how they are countering our magic. They're using technology derived from human designs, stolen when Earth first made contact with the Empire." Ambassador Petrov stepped forward, his face pale. "We just received a priority message from Earth. 3 colony ships left our system 6 weeks ago, heading for new settlements. All 3 have gone silent. No distress signals, no communication, nothing." The implications hung heavy in the air. "They're testing their weapons on human ships," Owen said quietly. "Because we have no magic to protect us." "Precisely," the queen said. "And we believe they are planning a larger attack on both our species." Caldrus pulled up new images on the display. "These are the last known positions of the colony ships. We are sending a task force to investigate. I will be leading it." He paused, looking at Owen. "I would like you to come with us." Owen blinked. "Me? Why?" "Because twice now, you have solved problems our magic could not. Because you think differently than we do. Because we need that perspective." "I clean stables," Owen protested. "I'm not a soldier or a scientist." "No," Caldrus agreed. "You're something we need more. Someone who does not rely on power they were born with. Someone who learned to survive by being smart and adaptable." Lissa spoke up. "The colony ships used human technology. If they had been damaged or compromised, you might understand things we would miss." Owen looked around the room. Every eye was on him. He thought about the colony ships, filled with people who left Earth looking for a better life. People like him who just wanted to work hard and maybe see the stars. "All right," he said. "I will go, but I want Ambassador Petrov to send word to Earth. Tell them to prepare defenses that do not rely on magic. Old-fashioned weapons, physical barriers, things that work without power if they have to." Petrov nodded. "Consider it done." The next week passed in a blur. Owen found himself teaching basic tactics to dragon warriors who could level cities with their breath. It was awkward. The dragons struggled with thinking small, with planning for scenarios where their magic might not work. But they tried. And some of them, like Hrothgar, caught on quickly. "You're saying we should always have a backup plan that assumes we have no magic?" Hrothgar asked during one session. "Exactly. Magic is great, but what if it fails? What if someone blocks it? You need to know how to fight, how to think, how to survive without it." Caldrus attended every session, taking notes, asking questions. He and Owen spent evenings talking about Earth, about dragons, about the differences between their species. "On Earth, we have a saying," Owen told him one night. "Hope for the best, prepare for the worst." "Dragons have a similar saying," Caldrus replied. "Trust in your strength, but sharpen your claws." Same idea, different words. The queen summoned Owen before they left. She met him in a private garden, not the throne room. In this setting, she looked less like an empress and more like a worried mother. My son could have died, she said without preamble. The finest mages in the Empire could not save him. But you did. A stable boy from a planet we barely acknowledge. I just told him to get up. Owen said uncomfortably. You did more than that. You showed us our weakness. Our dependence on magic has made us blind to simpler solutions. She looked at him with those golden eyes. I am trusting you with my son's life again. Bring him home safely. I will do my best. That is all I ask. The dragon warship Skyfire left the homeworld at dawn. Owen stood in the observation deck, watching the planet shrink behind them. Lissa stood beside him, while Caldrus reviewed plans with Rothgar in the command center. Are you scared? Lissa asked. Owen considered the question. They were flying into unknown danger, chasing ships that had been attacked by an enemy with advanced weapons. He was a farm boy from Montana with zero combat training, about to face a threat that had the entire Dragon Empire worried. Terrified, he admitted, but those colony ships have people on them. Families. Kids, maybe. If there's a chance we can save them, I have to try. Lissa smiled. You are very brave for someone so scared. Bravery is not about not being afraid. It is about doing what needs to be done anyway. The ship jumped to faster-than-light travel, and the stars stretched into lines. Somewhere ahead, in the dark between worlds, answers waited. And probably danger. Definitely danger. The colony ship New Dawn drifted dead in space, its hull scarred with weapons fire. Emergency lights flickered through the viewports like dying fireflies. Owen pressed his hand against the observation window of the Skyfire, his breath fogging the glass. Life support is failing, the scan officer reported. But there are survivors. Maybe 200 gathered in the central sections. How long do they have? Caldrus demanded. For hours. Maybe 5. Rothgar studied the tactical display. I count 6 enemy vessels and hiding nearby. They're using some kind of stealth technology, waiting to see if we send rescue teams. It is a trap, Lissa said quietly. Obviously, Owen agreed. But we're going anyway, right? Caldrus looked at him, then smiled grimly. Obviously, they took 2 shuttles. One piloted by dragons, one by humans from the Skyfire's crew. Owen rode with Caldrus, Lissa, and Rothgar. His stomach lurched as they crossed the space between ships. The New Dawn's airlock opened with a grinding sound that spoke of damaged mechanisms. Owen was first through, his breath clouding in the cold air. The gravity was failing, making everything feel slightly floaty. Bodies floated in the corridor. Owen forced himself to look away and focus on the mission. Find survivors. Get them to the shuttles. Survive whatever came next. They found the survivors in the mess hall, huddled together for warmth. Families, mostly. Children crying. Adults trying to stay calm and failing. Ambassador Petrov's assistant, a woman named Rachel, was organizing the survivors. She looked exhausted but determined. Owen Fletcher. She recognized him from the embassy briefings. Thank God. We need to evacuate now. The attackers could come back any minute. They're already here, Owen told her. 6 ships waiting and hiding. How many people can we move? All of them, if we use both shuttles and pack tight. Then let us move. They worked fast, organizing survivors into groups, getting children aboard first. Owen helped an elderly man who could not walk, while Lissa used her healing magic to stabilize 3 injured crew members. Caldrus coordinated with the Skyfire, planning their escape route. That was when the trap sprung. The enemy ships dropped their stealth, appearing on sensors like ghosts, becoming solid. Energy weapons charged, targeting both shuttles. They were waiting for us to commit, Rothgar snarled. Classic ambush. Owen's mind raced. 6 enemy ships against 1 dragon warship and 2 shuttles full of civilians. The Skyfire could probably win that fight, but not before the shuttles were destroyed. The enemy commander's voice crackled over the open channel. Dragon warship Skyfire, you are in violation of Free Alliance space. Surrender or be destroyed. This is not your space, Caldrus replied coldly. It is now. We claim this sector in the name of species free from dragon tyranny. Through the viewport, Owen saw the enemy ships moving into position. Then he noticed something the tactical officers had missed. They're using anti-magic fields, he said suddenly. Look at the energy signatures around their ships. Those are the same kind of field generators the assassins used in the palace. Lissa checked her instruments. He is right. If they activate those fields, our magic will not work inside the affected areas. Then they can isolate our ship, kill our magical shields, and destroy us. Rothgar finished. The Skyfire's captain came over the comm. Prince Caldris, they are powering up those field generators. We need to retreat or engage now. Owen stared at the enemy ships, his mind working through the problem like it was a puzzle. The fields blocked magic. That was their advantage. Dragons relied on magic for shields, weapons, even faster than light travel. Disable the magic, and you crippled the dragon ship. But the fields themselves were technology. Machines. Physical objects. We are thinking about this wrong, Owen said. They're using our strength against us. We use magic, so they built fields to block magic. But what if we did not use magic? Explain, Caldris ordered. The fields block magical energy, but they are machines. Physical devices. You cannot magic them away, but you can destroy them the old-fashioned way. Rothgar caught on first. Physical weapons. Kinetic strikes. Ram them if we have to. The Skyfire has missile batteries, Owen continued. Not magical ones. Old Earth-style explosives. We never use them because magic weapons are better. But magic weapons will not work in those fields. Caldris was already on the comm to the Skyfire. Captain, load all physical ordnance. Prepare for kinetic assault. We are going to destroy those field generators before they activate. But sir, physical weapons have limited range compared to magic. Then we get close. The Skyfire surged forward, closing the distance faster than the enemy expected. The Free Alliance ships activated their anti-magic fields, creating bubbles of dead space where dragon magic failed. Inside those bubbles, the Skyfire's magical shields dropped. Its energy weapons went dead, but its missiles still worked. The ship unleashed a barrage of kinetic weapons, old-fashioned explosives that did not care about magic fields. The enemy ships, expecting magical attacks, had shields designed to deflect energy, not physical mass. .3 field generators exploded in rapid succession. Now, Caldris shouted, "Dragon flight, deploy." Rothgar and 6 other dragons launched from the Skyfire in their natural forms. They flew through space on wings that worked through biological magic the fields could not completely block. They crashed into the remaining field generators like living missiles, tearing apart machinery with claws and teeth and raw strength. Within minutes, all 6 field generators were destroyed. With the fields down, the Skyfire's magical weapons came back online. The fight turned immediately. Dragon magic against conventional weapons was no contest. The enemy ships retreated, jumping away before they could be destroyed. Owen helped load the last survivors onto the shuttles. They made it back to the Skyfire without further attack. In the medical bay afterward, Caldris found Owen sitting in a corner, shaking slightly from adrenaline crash. "You saved us again," the prince said. "I just pointed out the obvious. You did the hard part." The hard part was seeing the solution. We were so focused on our magic being blocked, we forgot we have other options. Caldris sat beside him. "The enemy knows our weakness now. They will come in force next time." Owen nodded. "Then we need to teach your people to fight without magic. Really teach them, not just talk about it. Will you help? Do I have a choice?" Caldris smiled. "You always have a choice, but I hope you choose to stay." Owen thought about the families they had just saved, about the threats still coming. "Yeah, I will stay." The war room in the Dragon Palace hummed with tension. Holographic displays showed enemy fleet positions, projected attack vectors, and defensive formations. 2 weeks had passed since the rescue at New Dawn. 2 weeks to prepare for an invasion everyone knew was coming. Queen Valindra stood at the center of it all, looking older than Owen had ever seen her. The weight of protecting an empire showed in every line of her face. "Their fleet will arrive in 3 days," High Mage Isendor reported. 200 ships, maybe more, all equipped with anti-magic field generators. "Our traditional defenses will be limited at best. Then we will use non-traditional defenses," Caldris said firmly. Around the table, dragon commanders shifted uncomfortably. Change came hard to a species that had ruled through magical superiority for 10,000 years. Owen stood beside Ambassador Petrov, watching human military advisors work alongside dragon strategists. It still looked strange, but it was working. Slowly, the human fleet from Earth will arrive in 4 days, Petrov said. They are bringing every ship they can spare. Carriers, destroyers, missile cruisers. Nothing magical, everything kinetic. For days, Rothgar repeated. They will be too late for the initial assault. Then we hold for 1 day. Caldrus said simply. We have trained for this. Mixed units, combined tactics, magic and technology working together. Lissa pulled up medical projections. Casualties will be high. The dragons are not used to fighting without magical healing available in combat zones. The anti-magic field will disable most of our medical spells. We have human field medics training your healers, Owen pointed out. Basic first aid, trauma care, things that work without magic. It is not as good, but it keeps people alive. Queen Valindra looked at Owen. You have changed my empire in a matter of weeks. My people are learning to fight like yours, to think like yours. Some call it weakness. Some called it weakness when I woke your son by telling him to get up, Owen replied. They were wrong then, too. The faintest smile crossed her face. Indeed, she straightened, and suddenly she was not a tired queen, but an empress ready for war. Captain Rothgar, deploy the mixed units as planned. High Mage Isendor, prepare magical reserves for when the fields go down. We will show these rebels that dragons are more than just magic. The next 3 days blurred together. Final preparations, last-minute drills, quiet moments between people who might not survive what was coming. Owen found Caldrus in the royal stables the night before the battle. The prince was in humanoid form, sitting on a hay bale, looking at the stars through the open roof. Could not sleep either, Owen asked. Too much thinking. Caldrus gestured to the space beside him. I keep wondering if we have done enough. If the training will hold when the fighting starts. Owen sat down. You have done everything possible. Now you trust your people. I am trusting them with a completely new way of fighting. What if I am wrong? Then we adapt. That is what humans do. That is what you have learned to do. Owen looked at the same stars. When I woke you up, I did not have a plan. I just saw a problem and fixed it the only way I knew how. Sometimes that is enough. Up. Now, Caldrus said quietly, almost laughing. The 2 words that changed everything. Still the best advice I ever gave. They sat in comfortable silence until the first alarm sounded. The enemy fleet arrived early. The battle began in the space above the dragon homeworld, and it was chaos from the first moment. Anti-magic fields sprang up like bubbles of dead space, cutting through dragon formations. Ships that relied on magical shields found themselves vulnerable. Weapons that channeled magic went silent, but the dragons had learned. Mixed units held formation. Human gunships covered dragon fighters when their magic failed. Dragons used their physical strength and flight to destroy field generators, while human missiles provided suppression fire. Owen coordinated from the Skyfire, working with both human and dragon tactical officers. He had no official rank, no real authority, but people listened when he spotted patterns and suggested solutions. Enemy dreadnought moving toward the palace. A sensor officer called out. It is launching anti-magic mines. If those reach the surface, the entire city will be a dead zone. Owen studied the display. The mines were slow, designed to drift into position. They were also unshielded, relying on the chaos of battle to protect them. Caldrus, he called over the command channel. Those mines are vulnerable. Physical strikes can destroy them. Understood. Dragonflight, follow me. Through the viewport, Owen watched Caldrus transform mid-flight, his golden scales catching the light of weapons fire. He led a squadron of dragons straight into the minefield, destroying them with claws and breath and sheer momentum. The human fleet arrived 3 hours into the battle, fresh and ready. Their ships had no magic to disable, no shields to drop when the fields activated. They fought the way Earth had always fought, with steel and fire and stubborn determination. The tide turned. Enemy ships, designed to counter dragon magic, found themselves outmatched by the combination of dragon strength and human tactics. Field generators became priority targets, destroyed before they could create safe zones for the enemy. The Free Alliance fleet broke after 8 hours of fighting. Their ships scattered, retreating to wherever they had come from. The cost was high. Both sides lost ships. Both sides lost people. But the homeworld stood, and the Alliance held. In the aftermath, Owen found himself back in the stables. It was the only place that still felt normal. He was brushing down a dragon who had been injured in the fighting when Caldrus found him. "The Queen wants to see you," the prince said. "She is making some kind of announcement." The announcement was simple. Humans would be granted full citizenship in the Andorran Empire. Earth would be a protectorate, not a tributary. Ambassador Petrov cried openly when the declaration was made. Owen received a formal title, Ambassador General, a position created specifically for him. He tried to refuse, but the Queen insisted. "You may decline honors," she told him, "but you cannot decline responsibility. My people need you. Both our peoples need you." So he accepted, on one condition: "I still want to work in the stables sometimes, just to remember where I started." Weeks later, Owen was back in those stables, teaching a group of young dragons about Earth animals. They listened with the fascination of students learning something completely new. Prince Caldrus joined them, dressed casually instead of in royal regalia. He sat in the hay beside Owen, comfortable and relaxed. "Do you ever regret it?" Caldrus asked. "Coming here, changing everything?" Owen thought about it. About the battle, the losses, the weight of his new responsibilities. Then he thought about the alliance they had built, the lives they had saved, the future they were creating together. "No," he said finally. "Sometimes all anyone needs is someone to tell them to get up, to try something different, to see another way. Up. Now," Caldrus repeated, smiling. "Up. Now." Owen agreed. They watched the young dragons play. Two friends from different worlds, proof that the galaxy's future belonged to those willing to learn from each other. And somewhere in the distance, the stars waited for whatever came next.